Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. And today has already been a pretty big day for XRP. First of all, we got some crazy price pump. I mean, XRP just hit about 90 cents again, and I think that that's a big middle finger to all the people who said XRP was going to 0 or to 10 cents or everything in that lane. I held a long position open for quite a couple of weeks. It's paying off, and you guys also saw me do this trade right here. Every step of this trade I have shown to you guys on video, and you might say, oh, it is only $1,500 with a value of about $4,500 because there's some leverage, but I still think it is cool to show you guys that it can actually work, and if I'm ever in a loss, I also show it to you guys. But this one worked out, and you know why? It's because we buy at the right times. I'm telling you guys, it's not about always trying to time the market if you're talking about a hold stash. If we're talking about the XRP that is on my ledger, it doesn't really matter too much when you buy. But if you're a trader, it really does matter from the perspective that you got to kind of think about when exactly you buy additional to add to your stash to get a good liquidation price and a good entry to make sure you make those gains. And I told you guys as well, this area, if you bought right here, you would have theoretically speaking been buying a dip, right? Which would be nice. Then again, this entire buy is actually a lot riskier from a certain perspective than this buy. Well, it's also the opposite way. Why am I saying that? Well, if you're buying because you're adding to your stash, a buy right here is way better than a buy right here. If you're buying with leverage, this buy is way riskier than this buy. How does that work? What am I trying to say? Well, guys, I try to teach you guys mostly how to interpret fundamentals and how to interpret news into your trading and just into your crypto buying, I guess, even though none of this is financial advice. But very sometimes I notice that people don't understand how trends work in the markets and how you can help them or how they can help you, I guess, to make more money and make better trading decisions. One thing you should really know is that very often, if we're talking about buying crypto, we are talking about buying the dip, right? And so we are basically just buying whenever it's at its lowest point, but since you can never really time the market perfectly, you'll never be able to actually find the lowest of the low. So it is better to just buy every time it goes a layer lower. So for example, you'd buy right here, right there, right there. With trading, it is actually the opposite, because if you'd be buying the dip, you're basically trading against the trend. How does that work? Well, usually, if you're going to bet on something, are you going to bet on things continuing or things completely changing? Well, most people, and that's also what I guess is the rule of thumb, is you don't trade that things all of a sudden change 180 degrees. You change that it's going to, or you bet basically that it's going to stay exactly the same, or at least in the same type of manner. And that's basically how you sure, I guess I don't want to say you shouldn't, because it's a different form of trading that's riskier and heavier. You shouldn't trade, I guess, breakouts to the other side, but you should trade with the trend. And right here, if you're buying in this area or this area, you're basically buying this newer uptrend that has formed. If you're buying this area, you're trying to pick a bottom to get the reversal, to get a huge breakout towards the upside, which is a lot more difficult and a lot scarier. So that is why I'm going to say us buying here at 71 cents, because once more, guys, I told you all I'm buying at 71 cents right here. And even I bought at, what is it now? Because our average price is 73. We bought at 71 cents, and I guess a little bit later, maybe at 75 or so, to get the average price of about 73. We bought right there because the trend was doing good, Bitcoin was looking good, everything was looking good, and so it was worth the risk, so to speak. And yeah, that's just one thing I'll quickly let you guys know. Two exceptions. One, if you're a breakout trader, so you basically want to try get the bottom. And second of all, if you're really good with your DCA, it is actually potentially possible to also buy your way down from this perspective with leverage. Because right now, by the way, little side note, there's a $1,600 bonus on Bybit, so I actually got $1,000 worth of profit now for completely free, because we can actually just utilize bonuses to get all of this. It is not that difficult. A link is down below, and there's a multi-million-dollar trading competition coming up in a couple of days. I think you guys can register from next week on forward. I already have to register to make sure we have a team, because we can actually all work together in this one. How it works exactly, I'm not sure. But make sure that you are signed up for Bybit right now, that there's a bonus, because, well, it's worth it. And if you don't want to, don't do it. All right. But I'm telling you guys, the reason I keep talking so much about it is because there's free money to be gotten. And that's the best money. Right. If there's no risk involved, except for just, the normal exchange risk, it's juicier. All right, so one thing I missed a little bit because yesterday evening I just could not talk anymore. It was hurting me bad. And you guys might call me a little sissy for that one. I'll accept it, all right? I don't know. I'm not feeling too great last couple of days, so I'm taking it a little bit easier. I still published like 5 videos though, right? But this came out while I was already just done. I already recorded the video, the last one of the day. It's like, nah, I'm going to go out. So right now we have a little bit of an update. A couple of hours late, but it's still kind of relevant. So breaking. Galling House found a motion to seal exhibits, including parts of the William Hinman deposition transcript, as part of deliberative process privilege dispute. And guys, I will actually dedicate another video later today to dive even deeper into the entire debacle by looking at some, let's call it, older pieces of information. Right now, I just want to quickly get this news to you guys without too much context because it's just about 2 pages. Pursuant to Rule 3F of this court's individual practices and paragraph 15 of the stipulation and protective order. Wait, by the way, guys, make sure you press that like button. XRP is up. Are you guys holding? Are you guys buying? Let me know in the comments down below. Type yes if you're still holding your XRP. And make sure you press that like button to show those haters that we are still a strong community. All right. Protective order to the court entered in this case. We write on behalf of Brad Garlinghausen, Chris Larson, and Ripple to respectfully request leave to file under seal Appendix A and Exhibits A to H to defendant's August 10th letter request for a local rule conference to address the SEC's improper assertion of deliberative process privilege. Defendants have conferred with plaintiff SEC and understand that the SEC does not object to filing these materials under seal. Pending the SEC's opportunity to review the submitted materials and evaluate whether to ultimately request sealing, pursuant to paragraph 15 of the protective order and in accordance with the court's individual practices. Defendants are contemporaneously filing a redacted copy of the letter as well as an unredacted copies highlighted for redaction under seal. Defendants are also filing copies of Appendix A and Exhibit A to H under seal. Okay, long story short, guys, they are basically continuing on with the August 10th motion, or I guess request for a motion, to get a conversation going between Ripple and the SEC about deliberative process privilege, which is basically, for example, the William Hinman speech, right? Which part can they use and which parts are not usable because he is a high officer at the SEC, or at least he was. And which parts of the speech are not to be used because, well, it's a privilege that he as a high person can speak whatever he wants to without being questioned for it. And that's basically an issue that they have to fix, but they don't want to do this publicly. They want to do it behind closed doors. So these judge, Ripple, and the SEC can all see these letters, but the public can't. While defendants do not presently take a position on the ultimately confidentiality of these materials, appendix and all are compromised of discovery materials filled or filed with the court in connection with discovery-related disputes that were designated as confidential by the producing part. They are therefore not judicial documents and not entitled to a presumption of public access. And that basically means, for example, they could have questioned William Hinman, and some of those parts, some of those issues might not really be for the public to see because, well, the issue at hand has not been fixed. And in the end of things, they might only use it for some specific purposes that is not in the actual court, and so the public might not even need to ever see it unless they get the proper authority for it. And now, does not really matter. Each are discovery materials exchanged between the parties through compulsory process to facilitate orderly preparation for trial, not to educate or trilliate the public. The appendix and exhibits consist of the following materials. Exhibits A to F are a series of privilege logs provided by the SEC to defendants. Logs which the SEC has designated as confidential under the stipulation and protective order. So this Exhibit A to F most likely just shows the SEC explaining what parts of the documents that they have to give over do they not want to give over because they are privileged. It's a privilege log, right? It just shows what documents they have, which they are going to give over, and why some they should keep or not give over because, once more, it's not really up for Ripple's grabs. Then Exhibit G is an email from Jorge Tenerero, counsel for the SEC, to Reed Figel, counsel for Ripple, discussing the basis for the SEC's assertion of deliberative process privilege to certain documents. I would say that one is not really private, but maybe because it's about the basis. So if in that basis is the actual content that is privileged, well, then I guess a difficulty might arise. Exhibit H is an email produced in this litigation designated as confidential by the SEC pursuant to the stipulation and protective order entered by Judge Torres. Okay. And Exhibit I is an excerpt of the transcript of the confidential deposition of William Hinman, the former director of the Division of Corporation Finance at the SEC. A transcript the SEC has designated as confidential pursuant to the stipulation and protective order. So this one is yet to be seen. And for all of them, actually, it's yet to be seen whether or not they are actually private. But as it currently stands, the court and Ripple and the SEC have agreed. I'm not going to say the court because the court still has to rule on it. But Ripple preventively, basically, filed this now, or is basically requesting it to be filed under the seal, because that might be better for them, I guess, or better for all parties. Who cares, right? It's just done behind closed doors. We cannot do anything about it. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. Appendix A is compromised of a selection of entries from the privilege logs provided by the SEC to defendants. The SEC has designated the underlying logs confidential under the stipulation of protective order, and Appendix A also includes defendants' analysis of the basis for seeking in-camera review of each document contained therein. I didn't even know that one, but all right. Pursuant to paragraph 15 of the protective order, the SEC as a party that designated these materials as confidential in the first instance and the opposing party in this litigation should file within 3 days a letter explaining the need to seal or redact the materials, if any. Okay, so actually by this last line, I think things have changed kind of. How it basically works is that Ripple has now put up a list of all documents which are relevant that they want to put up and that they have, and they're basically asking the court if or if not these should all be behind closed doors. At least that's what I am fetching, because it started off with to respectfully request leave to file under seal Appendix A to Exhibits AH. They basically, I'm not sure exactly if to respectfully request leave to file under seal basically means that they want to leave under seal, you know, they don't want to seal it, or it just is basically just terminology to respectfully request something to file under seal, right? I don't know if this leave keyword means to leave not doing this, or if it just is terminology for to request a leave to file something, that means something. I do not know. It's literally the opposite thing, though, so that would be kind of annoying that we do not know as of this point. I have to figure that out. However, they're basically wanting to file quite a couple of documents that the SEC mostly has found private, and, well, they're at the part here basically asking the court whether or not these things should be private or not. And the SEC has 3 days to explain in the letter whether or not they think some things should also be sealed or not. And so I guess it's just going to be a continuation of the earlier issue at hand, which is deliberative process privilege, but it might happen all behind closed doors. Is this bad? No. Is this good? No. It doesn't actually mean anything, because ultimately us being able to read those letters is not really anything really too positive. It's just nice to know what we're in for, but it's really not a bad deal for the lawsuit result at all anyway. And it most likely is a pretty good idea to keep these things behind closed doors for the literal purpose of it being private information and the issue at hand being privilege. So I get it. I'm not sad. We are in profit, so I guess my day can't really be that bad anyway. Sometimes I keep thinking, right, because it says 920 USDT, it's just a number on paper. It doesn't do anything. However, if I gave you a bum like that, $1,000 in your hand, saying, hey, this is what you made in profit just now, it's like, oh, diggly damn, that's pretty juicy. It's just because it's a number on your screen that it doesn't hurt you or doesn't hit you at all. But if it were to be something in real life, if this was cold hard cash somebody gave in my pocket right now, I'd be like, oh, diggly damn, thank you very much. That's a really nice trade. Right now, once more, if I were to pick somebody, like if you ask your mom right now, I made $1,000 just pressing one button. Should I take it? And I'd say, no, I'm just going to leave it in to see what's going to happen. I would get a slap for the face, I guess, but whatever. Little fun side note. Guys, I will come back to this one once I figure out the perfect terminology. If you guys know, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll definitely see you guys again later, because we want to talk a little bit more about the price and everything that is happening right now, because this is juicy. It's a really, really crazy day.